Memories of Atlanta in '96 are very fond. It was a terrific time in my life, being in my early 20s, and just getting the chance to go to an Olympics with some of Australia's best ever. Andrew Gaze, Shane Heal, Mark Bradkey, these calibre players. Ray Borner was going to his 4th Olympics. So whilst I was a young fella, it was fantastic to go with those guys who have been there and done that, and were able to show me the ropes. It's pretty amazing. I was fortunate enough to play over 100 games for Australia, so I got used to wearing the uniform, and it sat pretty easily with me in the end. But every time I ran out, it was an immense honour, and it didn't matter how good or bad the opposition was. If we were playing New Zealand or the Dream Team, it didn't matter. Everyone went out and played their hardest because of the green and gold, and it just evokes a lot of pride, and you're playing for your friends and your family and your colleagues, so you want to do well for everybody.
What about?
Yeah, I played against some pretty good players in the Dream Team. I played against 2 different Dream Teams, one for the World Championships and one for the Olympics. So a few of those players doubled up on both those teams, but I got to play against some real legends of the NBA, Dominique Wilkins and Kevin Johnson and guys, and Joe Dumas, guys who have been around the NBA for a long time at that stage, and were probably on the back end of their careers, but it was still fantastic to shake their hand before the game and then match up and try and stop those guys. Look, one of the in Atlanta in July is really hot. It's down south, and we were in full woolen suits. So one of the things I remember first up was actually getting to the opening ceremony. We were in a bus. We all got bussed there, and everybody was sweating through their shirts. Some guys had their training singlets under their shirt just to try and stop the sweat. Everybody except Brett Maher. Not a bead of sweat. I think that guy's got ice water running through his veins. But it was extremely hot, and you have to wait so long. You go to the practice track, and all the countries sitting there and wait for all the goings on in the main stadium to be ready for us. So everybody's sitting there waiting around, just hot, and wanting for it to be over, because basketball is one of those sports where you've got to get ready to play straight away. So we just wanted to get in and get out. So then we get the call, and we make our march to the main stadium, and everyone's hot and bothered, and we have to go up a ramp to get into the main stadium. You don't just walk through a concourse like you would do at, say, the MCG or Suncorp Stadium. It's on ground level. You actually have to, for the opening ceremony, you have to go up a ramp, which ended up being about 1/3 of the way or half the way up the stands height. So you couldn't really see into the stadium. You could hear it, but as you walk up the ramp, there was probably 4 different lanes they had marked out where people walk up, and you come up to the top of this hill, and then the whole stadium just opens up in front of you, and you've got 100,000 people in there, squeezed in there, watching this show. And Australia being one of the first countries out alphabetically, the crowd is just begging for it. So we come up over the rise, and the Americans love the Australians anyway, and then the roar. The roar was like nothing I've ever experienced. It just goes right through you. Poor Zimbabwe, who's down the end, by the time they come out, the crowd's had enough. But because we're first, it was just, everybody was on a high, and it was coming into sunset. So it was just a great time of night. So then we make our way around the track, and everyone does a lap of the running track. We've got Bill Clinton up in the stands with all the organising committee. He's waving down to us, and we've got the countries who have come in before us. They're already in the centre of the stadium, in the field where the field events are. So everyone sort of does a lap and then comes in. But just the feeling from the crowd and just the love they have for Australia was amazing. So then we eventually come back into the middle of the track, and there's Laurie Lawrence to greet us, and he's just being a buffoon, as he loves to be, and all the other countries don't know what to make of him. We're standing next to Belarus, and these Russians, they don't know what the hell he's talking about. I remember once he just grabbed this massive tropical insect out of the sky. Being a North Queenslander, he didn't really care too much, but it had wings. It was like the size of a bat, and he grabbed it and he just stuck it in his mouth and bit it in half. And the Russians, they couldn't believe what they were seeing, and I'm sure they've seen some shocking things, but they couldn't believe it, and I couldn't believe it. I almost threw up in my mouth. And, but that was Laurie. He was there to fire everybody up and make everyone happy and just add to the experience. And you know, after that, and then you see, you know, Muhammad Ali lighting the flame, and you have Celine Dion singing the Olympic song, and Boys to Men sang the national anthem, and you know, Muhammad Ali lit the flame, and they did a Martin Luther King tribute, and they had, you know, the people in the stands with their cigarette lighters on, so all you could see was 100,000 little flames around the flickering in the tropical breeze. It was amazing. And they replayed his speech, you know, I have a dream, and it just brought chills to everybody. And you know, we started out the day wanting it to just be over, and we ended up not wanting to go. And that's the sort of show that the Americans put on, and they did it really well.